Hi guys, I'm Trish. This one is an update about the sleeve gastrectomy that I had 2 years ago, and then subsequent testing after that because I've had problems with reflux. So I had my last clinic appointment in the bariatric clinic was about 19 months ago, I think, January 2020, and it's August 2021 now. I had a gastroscopy in February this year, so about 6 months ago, and I hadn't heard anything back from the hospital about that, like coming into the clinic to get results or anything, which I thought was odd, but it didn't surprise me too much given that we're with all the COVID restrictions and the lockdowns and everything, and I thought, well, they must just not be doing clinic appointments. And I thought, no, that just doesn't seem right. So I called them, and yeah, they are still doing clinic appointments. I think I must have just got lost somewhere. I don't know, because I didn't have the gastroscopy at the Alfred, which I would normally do because because of COVID, they were outsourcing to private hospitals. So I got done at a private hospital, and I think maybe the communication went a little bit awry there. So anyway, I called them and they said, "Yep, we'll get an appointment for you." I didn't hear anything back, so I called again, and they finally got back to me with an appointment, which I had this morning. Because we're in lockdown in Melbourne at the moment, it was a phone appointment. That works for me. Otherwise, I'm an hour's drive from the Alfred. So, it's an hour there, it's an hour home. I've got to pay for petrol, and then I've got to pay for parking, and hospital parking, even with a concession or a pension card, isn't cheap for me. And then you end up in there. So you've got 2 hours driving, about $20 in petrol and parking costs. And then you sit in the waiting room for an hour, sometimes longer, and go in for a 10-minute appointment. So a phone appointment worked for me. So I just wrote out all my questions, and one of the doctors called me. We had a chat. He went and had a chat with another surgeon. Came back, called me again. So I wrote it all down because otherwise I knew I'd forget. So I'll just and actually before I do that, because you probably all want to know how I'm doing. Lap banded in 2013. Sleeved in 2019, it's 2021 now. My highest weight was 170 kilos, that's 170. When I was lap banded, because I already lost a little bit of weight in the probably about the 6 months prior to being lap banded on my own, and then I did Optifast and everything. So on the day of surgery, when I got lap banded, I was 140. Got down to about, I'll say around about 85. I was actually 79 kilos for a very short period of time after my tummy tuck, but I don't really count that because I had to diet like a mad woman to get down to that weight. So I say I got down to about 85 kilos. Then the lap band failed. I went back up to, I had to have it removed, went back up to 127 kilos. Then when I got sleeved, I went back down to about 86, 87 kilos. But that was only for a very short period of time. I was seeing a guy, it was a shitty relationship. I'm an emotional non-eater. So there was so much going on that I couldn't eat, and I lost like a heap of weight. So after I stopped seeing him and all that stress was gone, I went back up to about 93 kilos. The surgeon told me today that when the last time I saw them, January 2020, I was 94 kilos. Sounds about right to me. And now I'm 99. So I have gained 5 kilos in about the last 19 months, and I can maintain this. I was maintaining at about 97 quite reasonably easily, but it's creeping on, and if I don't really keep an eye on it, it does go up. But I've had to temper my eating with my mental health being healthy as well. I could go ahead now and lose another 10 to 15 kilos. I could do that. It would be very difficult to maintain, and I would have to be so obsessive to do it that it would affect my mental health. That's what happened to me when I had the lap band. I did very, very well. I was very, very obsessive, but my mental health suffered for it. I was too obsessive. So as long as I can keep it under 100, I'm happy. And all things considered, I'm considered a success story. You know, I was 170, I'm now 99. So that's 71 kilos down. That is a success story. Sorry, my phone just went then. I forgot to put it on silent. So I'm 99 kilos today. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm about 169.5 centimetres tall, and you better believe that half centimetre makes a difference once you drop under 170 centimetres. So this is what I look like today. This skirt, I think, is an XL from, where did I buy it? Cotton On, I think. And I don't know what this top is, probably a 16 from Big W or Kmart or something. This jumper's a size 14, but it's big and frumpy. I mean, it looks nice with the skirt. But this is how I look now. I think my leggings are a size 16. For all those playing along at home, that's what 99 kilos on me at 169.5 centimetres looks like. So I'll go over what we discussed in the appointment today. The reason I got the gastroscopy, as I said, was because I have reflux still. I'm taking Pariet, I still have reflux. I am sometimes vomiting and choking on my own vomit in my sleep, and I very often wake up choking. The vomit doesn't always come up into my mouth so that I can taste it, but I'm still quite often waking up choking, and that's just not good enough. And I sometimes get that vomitive reflux come up, you know, during the day. I'm also having trouble eating things like chicken and beef. I can eat beef mince, but chunks of beef are a problem. I have problems with rice. If I eat those foods, they just sit really heavy in my tummy, and they can take 5 or 6 hours to go through. And so, you know, like after a few hours, because the sleeve has never really made me not hungry. That part of it never worked. So, you know, like after 3 or 4 hours, I'm getting hungry, but I've still got this really heavy, full feeling in my tummy. So I can't eat. It's not working for me. I never wanted to be sleeved because of the reflux. But, you know, public system, they said that I had to be sleeved. So now they want to do some more. And that's another thing I found out today talking to this guy. When I had my sleeve gastrectomy done, before I left the hospital, they did a barium swallow. And I noticed, because you can see the scans when they do them, depending on, you know, where you're standing and stuff. But I could see on the screen that it looked like there was like a my tummy didn't look how I expected it to look. I thought it would look like a banana, but it didn't. It sort of was a different shape. And I asked him if it was all right, and he sort of said, yeah, that's all right, that's normal. Apparently it's not. I have, right from the beginning, a small pouch in my sleeve. Now, I don't know how that affects things. Maybe that's why I still get hungry. Maybe, I don't know, but I only just found that out today. From the last gastroscopy I had in January, there's been no damage done by the reflux. The last pH studies and manometry studies I had done, which are very unpleasant tests, showed changes consistent with having a sleeve. It showed as well that my pH levels when lying down, I think it was my pH levels, I'm not sure, were 6.5% when I was laying down, and apparently that's not normal. Normal is less than 4. So shit's not normal, but I think it's like not normal enough for them to actually really sit up and pay attention maybe, although they seem to be really paying attention now. And there's changes to my sphincter complex at the bottom of my esophagus. Now, he also said later on that I don't have any signs of Barrett's esophagus, which is the changes they look for that can lead to esophageal cancer. So it's not that. So I don't know what the changes are at the bottom of my esophagus, and I forgot to ask him the 3 times that he rang. But I'm sure if it was something really bad, they'd let me know. So now what they want to do is send me off for 3 tests to determine what's going on and whether or not I will be bypassed, if that is an option to fix all of this. Because he actually said to me, he said, oh, well, you know, the Pariet seems to be controlling your symptoms right now. And I said, well, no, it's not, because I'm waking up choking on vomit. That's not controlling them. And my main beef with the Pariet is that I've been taking it for around about 20 years, and it's a relatively new medication. It's only been available since 1989, which is relatively new. So they've not done any really long-term studies of what happens to people when they use it. The longest study I can find is people who've been taking it for about 5 years, I think, and the studies are very small. And a lot of them are anecdotal, but there are things that are beginning to show up that really concern me. Not in me, but in these studies of people using Pariet very long term. Things like subacute cutaneous lupus, dementia, hypergastrinemia, which is a rebound of the acid when you stop taking the Pariet, and that can lead to stomach cancer. That is my biggest worry next to dementia. 41% decreased calcium absorption, which can lead to fractures. It can make you more susceptible to pneumonia because of inhaled non-pylori bacteria. It can cause C. difficile colitis. I forgot to look that up, but I'm pretty sure that is a very serious thing. And I've had really bad diarrhea on and off for a long time now, but it's not that. If it were that, I'd probably be dead by now. It can lead to hypomagnesemia, which just means low magnesium, which I'm pretty sure I do because I supplement really high magnesium, and I get my magnesium checked and it's never too high. It can also cause hypokalemia, which is low potassium, and I did actually have that for a while after being sleeved, but I get my potassium checked regularly now still, and it's most of the time it's fine. Sometimes I've got to take potassium for a little while, but it's mostly fine. It can also lead to B12 deficiency and acute interstitial nephritis. Now, a lot of those things, they all sound really scary, probably most likely not to happen, but, you know, when you've been taking a medication like that for as long as what I have, it does stick in the back of my head, and if there's a way that they can fix that, that would be great. Oh, and also, Pariet can reduce the absorption of other medications because some medications need that acidic environment in your stomach to be able to be absorbed. And one of those things is iron. And I have been iron deficient now for about 15 years, and no one's been able to figure out why. Probably because I've been taking Pariet and there's not enough acid in my stomach to be able to absorb that iron. I think I've had 3 iron infusions. Since having my uterus removed a couple of years ago, things have gotten a lot better because I'm able to get enough iron via my food. But when I think of all the money I spent on iron tablets, and then of course laxatives, because iron doesn't agree with me. But anyway, that's another story for another day that I've probably already told anyway. So yeah, the 3 tests that they want to do now are another barium swallow to see what's going on. I don't mind that. I don't mind the taste of the barium as long as they don't give me the one that tastes like licorice. That's fine. I like it. It's nice and minty fresh. And they want to do 2 nuclear medicine tests with a radioactive tracer. So from the very quick research I did, I have a semi-solid meal, probably like scrambled eggs, something like that. Now, and I don't know what they're going to do at the Alfred, but this is what I would say. Something like scrambled eggs plus some fluid, and you swallow the radioactive tracer, and then they do a series of scans. I think it's x-rays, but I'm not sure. To check my esophageal motility, which is like how well the food is going down my esophagus, and the gastric emptying, so how fast the stomach moves from my esophagus through my stomach and then down into my intestines. So they're hoping that they can get me booked in for those within the next couple of weeks, and then another clinic appointment in 4 weeks, and we'll take it from there to see if I'm going to be bypassed or not. For anyone who is starting, if they're still at the start, they haven't had any surgery, they're just contemplating like weight loss surgery. I know all this seems like a lot, but you've got to go into it knowing that it's not a quick fix. And I knew that going into this 8 years ago. 8 years ago, my first surgery was. I knew that I could get lap banded, that it might work for a while and then not work, and then that I may have to get sleeved, and that might work for a while and then stop working, and then I would need to get bypassed. After bypass, I don't know what else they can do, to be completely honest. But I knew going into it, I was very realistic, knowing that all this may happen, that things might work, might not work, that my weight might go up and down, and that it wasn't a quick fix, and that there would be, a lot of work ahead of me, not just in my eating and exercising and everything, but, like quite a few surgeries maybe and all that sort of thing. So none of this is really a surprise to me. So I will update everyone in a couple of weeks when I have those tests. I think I've had these tests many years ago when I had some bowel problems, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'll update everyone what those tests were like, what that experience was like for me. So that's it for now.